Hi, thank you for visiting passionforskills.com. In this video, I will be sharing the difference between pinyin and zhuyin. These two are helpful for us to so that we could read Chinese characters. Basically, if you want to learn Chinese, you will be surprised because you would see Chinese characters instead of letters or words. So basically, you can't read Chinese characters unless you grew up in China, where you are surrounded by Chinese word, where you are being taught how to say Chinese, how to speak Chinese, and how to read Chinese. You can and able to read Chinese characters. But for those people who are not from China, who didn't grow up in China, then you had to attach to these systems, pinyin or zhuyin, in order to learn Chinese. So where does these systems of pinyin and zhuyin come from? Basically, if you are in Taiwan or if you are learning Chinese from Taiwan, they are going to teach you a system called zhuyin. So basically, zhuyin comes from Taiwan. If you buy their books, if you have tried to read their maybe newspapers or other stuff, other literature, basically they use zhuyin in order to help you read the Chinese characters. But if you go to China, they are using pinyin in order to help you read Chinese characters. So Taiwan uses zhuyin while China uses pinyin. Now, what's the difference between these two systems of reading the Chinese characters? Basically, both of them actually in a way are the same. Here is a chart that shows both pinyin and zhuyin. If you notice that for every corresponding letter or pinyin, there is a corresponding zhuyin or Chinese letters that can be found in this chart. And basically, how you read pinyin is the same thing as how you read zhuyin. So in a general sense, both of them are the same. But there is actually a difference between these two. Or a better way to say it is advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages of studying zhuyin? First and foremost, if you studied zhuyin, I believe your pronunciation will be far more accurate. Why? Because you are studying a new set of system. You are studying a new set of letters. So every time you memorize a certain letter, a certain zhuyin, you would place a certain pronunciation with that. So as you study zhuyin, your pronunciation in Chinese will be more accurate. Now, what is the disadvantage of studying zhuyin? Well, a disadvantage of studying zhuyin is you have to study a whole new set of Chinese alphabet. This Chinese alphabet, if you check the chart again, you would see that this Chinese alphabet is not the same as how English alphabet is written. So it is an entirely new alphabet. So it will take more time to study zhuyin. But the advantage of zhuyin is that your pronunciation will be more accurate. Now let's go to pinyin. Pinyin, on the other hand, would the advantage of pinyin is basically it is easier to read, because if you notice, pinyin is very, very similar to the English alphabet. So if you are familiar with the English alphabet, it is easy for you to read most of the pinyin. Most, because not all pinyin sound the same as the English alphabet. Actually, some of them, or a lot of them, are different. So in pinyin, you would be able to read this system as long as you know the English alphabet. Now, what are the disadvantages of pinyin? Now, for those people who know how to use the English alphabet, sometimes they might be reading pinyin, but they are using the pronunciation of the English alphabet, which will produce a different pronunciation. Let me give an example. In the English alphabet, we have the letter E. Sometimes the letter E is pronounced as as E for elephant, and sometimes it is pronounced as a short I. for feet or cheese. But in Chinese, there are two kinds of letter E in Chinese. The first one is read as E. The second one is read as E. So in English, that pronunciation does not exist in the letter E, but in Chinese it exists. So sometimes if you try to read pinyin using the English alphabet, most of the time you would have a wrong pronunciation of the Chinese word, and therefore other Chinese might not understand what you were saying. So these are the pros and cons of the system that will help us to learn Chinese characters. Now the question that you maybe is at the back of your mind is this: which is the best system? Which of these two is the best? Actually, if you have a lot of time in your hand, I would suggest that you pursue zhuyin. Okay, if you have the opportunity, if you have the luxury of the time, then you would pursue zhuyin, because zhuyin would provide you a different set of a Chinese alphabet, and at the same time your pronunciation will be far more exact. But if you are short on time and if you want to just learn a bit of a Chinese, maybe just want to learn a few basic sentences and not to go deeper with Chinese, then I believe pinyin would be a great help to you. So there you have it, the differences between pinyin and zhuyin. So if you have any more questions, if you have any more suggestions, you could actually message us here in passionforskills.com. Thank you for listening and hope to see you again next time.